Hello, friends. I'm here on time. Are you excited? I'm just gonna wait to see that you guys can see that I'm here because there's quite the delay here on YouTube. But I am actually live, right? Waiting. Yep. Okay, there I am. That is how long the delay is here. So, let's see who's here. Some people were here from earlier, so that's fantastic. Thank you so much for just kind of joining in super early. Joel, Faith, Megan, Untitled Channel, Einstein, Rayan, Blue Diamonds, Magic Monkichi. I'm seeing a bunch of you over on Twitch now, which is fantastic. So if you guys want to see me more often than this, like once a week kind of, chatty whatever that we're doing here right now, go come find me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/justanotherflautist, FLAUTIST. So I'm over there like every weekday practicing. So if you wanted to see more of me, that's where you can see me more than here. And it's the same setup, so it's pretty great. Jamie, let's see. Yep, you guys remember to do the go live thing. Jamie, you've been trying to learn to sing like Carrie Underwood. Hey, Melanie. Hello again. I hope your internet's better now. Julian, hello. Alfredo, Mia, Christopher, Flute. Yes, I recognize you guys. Hello. Hiya. Natasha. Hey, Natasha, how are you doing? Ariana, or Ariana, right? Ariana and Oriana is here. Odd Artist, Damaris, Emily. Who else is here? Yeah, Elrain, Michael, Chip. Hello. Jamie, you're having trouble using Twitch. Yo, you know what? I did too for a while, but persist, okay? It's really fun once you get into sort of the chill vibes we've got going on over there. Yeah, I remembered the button, right? Aren't you guys so proud of me? I am actually remembering to click the go live button. It is not like on Twitch. On Twitch, the moment I start streaming from my software, it starts streaming to Twitch. It's great. But anyway, Damaris, I just saw that you said that I'm an inspiration to your growth as a musician. My goodness, that is huge praise. Thank you so much. I do hope that what I have, said has truly helped. Lovely. Okay, so, hey Darcy, how are you doing? Luis or Louis? Luis. Hola, how are you doing? Lovely. Evego, hello. You guys remember the go live? I still can't believe I talked to myself for 45 minutes last week. That was last week, right, guys? 45 minutes talking to myself. That was freaking ridiculous. For those of you guys who stuck around for those 45 minutes, I still am amazed that you guys stuck around for that long. Like, I am so freaking amazed. Hey, Chris. You can scroll down while in full screen mode. I just discovered this, I think, 2 weeks ago. Like, I just kind of randomly started scrolling. Like, I just kind of brushed against the scrolling, the little rolly thing. And it scrolled down the comments. I was like, what the hell? I didn't realize it because I thought that when it went full screen, you were just kind of locked into only looking at the video. And I also had no idea that you could just scroll down. Like, what? Damaris. Is that right? Damaris? Is that how we say it? Thank you so much for the pronunciation guide. Jamie, you've been sewing masks for your area. Fantastic. I really need to get on doing that because I have some old t-shirts that we can use. I need to bust out my sewing machine though. But yeah. Hey Faith, Malachi. I remember you, Malachi. Hey Megan. What's a good cheap intermediate flute brand? I mean, okay. You know what? I'm just gonna say, head on over to my flute reviews. It'll give you a pretty good idea. A lot of the sub brands for kind of your major flute brands will have good ones. So Amadeus is under Haynes, Sonari is under Powell. You know, there's many more that are like this too. So something like that, like the Rizonas under Burkhardt, right? Or they are Burkhardt. I don't have it completely figured out which ones are actual sub brands and which ones are like just, you know, the model names. But typically, if you're looking for like a good intermediate flute, you want to look at the sub brands of like the big like flute brands out there. Those ones tend to be pretty darn great. Because what they do is they mass produce the body of the flute, but the head joint that they pop on those flutes are the same head joints that they put on their like more professional level flutes. So that's kind of why they sound pretty darn great. But yeah. Julian, you can't believe you made it and your notification wasn't delayed. You know what? Lots of people have been saying that finally Twitch is also putting out their notifications properly now. And then now I guess YouTube is putting out their notifications properly. So it's pretty great. Oh my gosh, I missed the Emerson flutes, Lisa. Also, hello, Lisa. So I actually used to be a big kind of like, I guess, a supporter of like, hey, you know, like if I had new students and they were looking for like a good, you know, kind of beginner intermediate flute, I'd get them to look at Emerson's, but I haven't really heard much from them for a very long time, right? But yeah, they are an older brand, I believe. Michael, you've been binge watching my flute reviews. Oh my goodness, that is high praise. Thank you. I do appreciate that my material is bingeable. Thank you. Avanti is under Brandon. Yes, that's what I heard. Avanti is under Brandon. Yes. So yeah, lots of the big brands out there have sub brands underneath them. And so, you know, if you're looking for a good cheap intermediate flute, like those would be pretty darn great. A nice, beautiful, slow piece. Here's the thing, my dear Joel. If I like beautiful, slow pieces, this is very personal, okay? I tend to like the really weird ones, okay? Like, they sound a little off and a little weird, you know? So essentially the 20th century modern type of slow movements, I freaking love those. Oh, they are my jam. Love them. But do they sound weird? Yes, a little bit. At least a little bit. I like the stuff that ranges from slightly a little sounding a bit off, but just right enough to be like likable, to like completely weird, you know? So, you know, just being honest with you, I'm probably not the best person to ask what a nice, beautiful slow piece is for the flute. If not those, I tend to gravitate towards Baroque. So, but there's tons of classical material out there that's really beautiful on the flute. Tons of romantic material out there. Very, very beautiful for the flute, especially since in the Romantic era, that was when the flute that we know now was born. So, the modern, so they created a lot of music in the Romantic era to kind of show off what the new metal flute could do. And one of the things that the new metal flute could do was sing like an opera singer. So whether it be kind of your typical opera or coloratura singing. So there you go. Hey, Will, how are you? How's that virtual flute choir going? And how are your classes going? Because I know you're a professor, right? teacher, professor. Azumi is under altus? Yes, I believe so. And Azumi, known to have very good flutes. I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 students now who have successfully auditioned into music schools with Azumi flutes. Yep. Oh, Lux Oromke by Eric Whitacre. By the way, can I just do a random shout out for Eric Whitacre? Do you guys follow his Facebook page? Because you really should. He's so funny. Like, he's that composer. He's that classical composer that is like, for some reason, like very down to earth, but also very good looking. Okay, this is just an objective fact, okay? The entire music world agrees that Eric Whitacre is very good looking, okay? Good looking, funny, he posts memes, okay? Down to earth, but he just composes this beautiful, beautiful music. I was introduced to his music through wind ensemble, actually. So there was an arrangement of Lux Oromke. I believe that was my first kind of foray into the Eric Whitacre universe. But you guys should really go and, go check out Eric Whitacre. Yeah, he's so funny. He's fantastic. I think there was one time, I don't remember what it was, but like years ago, I think I must have retweeted something or reposted something or something like that, and he responded to one of my tweets. Not that he knows who I am or remembers me at all, okay? But I was very proud of myself. I was so proud of myself. Like, to me, it was like senpai noticed me, So he hasn't. I'm not surprised that he has an Instagram account. Oh, October's very good too. Yes. Hey Jane, how are you doing? Lisa, you chatted with Eric Whitacre online. He's so nice. And everything I've ever heard about him is that he's so nice. Like, ridiculously nice. So, Sleep. Sleep is also very good. I believe I was introduced to both Sleep and Lux Oromke in the same program. So, I was introduced to those 2 pieces, right off the bat. For October, it was actually one of my students brought the piece to me to study with me. He was just studying the flute part. Oh my God. Gorgeous. Just beautiful. Morgan, you chatted with Frank Kelly on Gmail? Fantastic. I know. Yeah, see? Yeah, you are my people, man. You guys love Eric Whitacre just as much as I do. Never heard of Eric Whitacre. Oh, and you looked him up and he's dreamy, right? Yes, exactly. It's basically an objective fact in the music world that Eric Whitacre is good looking. That's just, it just do be. He do be, Have I heard Hurt? No, I haven't. Is that one? Is it a newer one? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I have not been catching up with what he's been doing lately. So if that's something new, I probably should go look that up. It's kind of like how you guys told me about Herman Beeftank. I had no idea, had never heard of Herman Beeftank before. But then once I started, sight reading some of his music, because one of you guys donated money to me, super chatted some money to me. So I immediately used that super chat money to pay for a PDF. So I bought the PDF, and then, you gotta support your composers, Yeah. What's the most embarrassing thing that has happened to me on stage? Hey, good question. Okay, so, embarrassing? Okay, so when I think embarrassing, I think deep set shame, okay? But I get into this weird mode when I'm performing where I just fly by the seat of my pants. You know what I mean? So it's stuff happens to me and I just got to make it work, you know? And like, how do I feel about making it work? Like, I don't really have the embarrassment kind of twinge about it. It's more like I made a video about that time that I forgot a whole line in my music. So I did that. And the thing was, you kind of have to, in a way, hide the fact that you're embarrassed. But in the act of hiding the fact that you're embarrassed, you kind of overcome the embarrassment too, right? So like, I just kind of made up that line. Not that I had any idea. I had no idea what I was doing, because at that point, I don't think I was in music school yet. So my understanding of harmonic progressions, melodic kind of composition and stuff like that was not very deep. And so I had no idea what I was doing when I was making stuff up. But I did it, and I just decided to sell it, you know. Just, just kind of like look like I'm really into it. And apparently I looked like I was enough into it that it distracted people enough that they didn't know I was making stuff up. So, and I know this is a fact because there was a pianist who was listening from the audience, and she's a pianist because she accompanied her sister a lot. And so this pianist knows a lot of flute music. And so she came up to me afterwards and she was like, hey, you did a great job. I was really into it. And I was like, okay, you know what? Since you know this piece, like you've played this piece before, I have to just not that I am, it is what it is. It's done. I can't really do anything about it. So like, in a weird way, I wasn't really embarrassed by it, but I just felt that I needed to, admit it to someone who has played the piece before, and so I just kind of told her, hey, there's that one line. If you thought it sounded weird, it's because it was, because I made it up. And she was just like, oh, that's why that sounded a little different than what I remembered, but I really like the way you did it. I was just like, I have no idea what I played. I still have no idea what I played. So, even a pianist who has played the piece before was like, totally didn't even realize I was making crap up. So that's what I mean by like, when you're on stage and you're like, and you do something that is embarrassment worthy, if you're in that performance mode, you're going to snap into just like problem solve mode. You know what I mean? You're just problem solving. It's very like, your emotions don't really get tied up into it that far, actually, because you're such in a performance mode, and you just make do. Fly by the seat of your pants, try something to make it work. And if it works, you run with it, So in terms of embarrassment on the flute, I wouldn't say that anything happened to me that I was like truly embarrassed about, in terms of like it happening on stage. Now I've had things happen in auditions, and I don't know if that counts as on stage. So I've had plenty of things happen in auditions. I've, buzzed completely on notes because I was playing on bronchitis. There was another audition that I completely failed because I had put my flute on like really cold linoleum floor outside the room, but the room itself was like a sauna. Like it was really, really hot. And the piano in there was really out of tune. So when I went in to do, because like the nerves were getting to my head and everything. So when I went in and then I was like, I was trying to play, even I could tell with my tone deaf ears how out of tune it was. It was just that I couldn't tell which direction I was out of tune, because at that point I wasn't as confident in blending my tone with other instruments. So I played that audition horrendously out of tune. I know that. Whose fault was it? Mine. Okay. I completely take 100% responsibility for that. So it's that sharp change in temperature my flute couldn't really take, and then combine that with a piano that's already out of tune, it sucks, but it is what it is, and I learned from the experience and wouldn't really have it any other way. Honestly, guys, if I didn't fail that audition, I don't think I would be having this live stream with you, because it was basically like a butterfly effect. I failed that audition, so I had to change plans. So part of my change of plans was to go down to San Francisco, because at that point I was living in Vancouver, BC. So change of plans, went to San Francisco Bay Area to kind of like find myself again, like soul searching, because I was born in San Francisco and I didn't remember much of it, and I wanted to kind of go back to my homeland. Ended up doing a master's there, but I couldn't really feel like I couldn't really get a footing in the music world there with what I wanted to do. So ended up moving up to here where I am now, and then ended up meeting my husband here. 6 years later, here we are. Okay, so like honestly, I am so glad I failed that audition, because I don't think I would be sitting here live streaming in front of you guys right now. Like, I don't think my life would have gone in that direction, because my whole online career didn't truly take off until after I moved here to Seattle. So, oh, see you, Oriana. Charge your phone. But yeah, so, it has been a very interesting. Oh yeah, my flute slipping out of my hands. That was one interesting one too. That was at a competition, but I wouldn't say that I was embarrassed by that. It was kind of a thing. It happened. You catch your flute in midair and you just kind of have to run with it, deal with it. No one noticed, apparently. But yeah, so some of you guys are talking about Big Burger. Love you guys. But yeah, so exactly, Darcy. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm so glad I failed that exam. I'm so glad I failed. Well, it wasn't an exam. It was an audition. But I'm so glad I failed it, because I really think that failing it created this butterfly effect that led me to where I am now. And I would not have it any other way. Would not have it any other way. I truly am. I can very confidently say I am living my dream right now. Sure, I'm not making a butt ton of money or anything. Like, I'm making a comfortable amount of money, not a butt ton, okay? If you guys think that I'm one of those rich YouTubers, no. Okay, no. If you look at my subscriber count, it's actually fairly small for a YouTube channel. And I know why, and it's because my attention is actually mostly on teaching. So because most of my attention is not on, YouTube and just going hard on just making YouTube videos, it's understandable that I have a smaller channel. And I'm okay with it though, because, I'm already living my dream, teaching online, streaming, talking with you guys, practicing online, it's just, it's a great life. It's a great life. So my goodness, Rayan, that is very early in the morning for you. Or is it nighttime? When it's like 3 or 4 in the morning, that's when you're like, I don't know if it's nighttime or morning, But as you can see, the sun is up where I am. It's kind of early afternoon where I am. Oh, man. Jamie, you wish you could stay up that late. I'm not sure how old you are, but I do know for a fact I can feel it now. If I stay up too late, I didn't used to. Even just a couple of years ago, I'd be totally fine pulling like an almost all-nighter. Like, I could edit videos until like 3 or 4 in the morning, sleep for maybe 3 or 4 hours, and be good to go again, and like not have any like huge consequences the next day. But I think I'm getting older, like I'm really starting to feel it now. Like, if I don't get enough sleep, like if I don't get at least 7 hours of sleep, yeah, goodbye Joanna. Figu Lilu. I'm assuming you're saying good afternoon to me in German. Is that right? Well, good afternoon to you as well. I believe it is a good evening to you. Yes. Oh boy, you're syncing all the videos together, Will. I believe that is what my orchestra is doing. Although I did record a little part for my orchestra, and we have sound audio engineers putting together the whole thing. Hey Kevin, how are you doing? I'm glad you found me here on YouTube too. Chris is here too. He's lurking, I think. The odd artist out. I did see that you're saying here that you need online friends. So if I may give another shout out to the Flute Zone Discord server. Please, guys, go Google Flute Zone, okay? Discord, okay? Download Discord, join this server. It is run by one of my former flute students. Absolutely fantastic little community. You can geek out about the flute. It's great. It's a great place to get some really nice online friends. All right, so if you want more online friends, go reach out, man. They will welcome you with open arms. They're a very, very nice community. I check in on them every now and then. I'm the lurker. I know that sounds really weird that I would be a lurker, but I really am. That's just who I am. I am a lurker, okay? So like I'm a lurker on Reddit. I actually have like an anonymous account on Reddit, okay? I'm a lurker. I'm like true lurker. I've always been a lurker. In fact, I lurked on YouTube on several of my favorite YouTubers' channels, lurked for several years and did not subscribe. That's me, you know? Am I really the flute channel? Am I really? I'm very surprised. Thank you. Yeah, right, Darcy? If I had it, because I failed the audition, I am now helping to inspire you guys to pick up the flute again, right? I mean, hey, Hockenbeck, how are you doing? And Amir, hi. Yeah, it was, here's the thing. It's my mom, okay? My mom is very good at talking me through failures, okay? So the way that she frames failure is that it's just an experience. And for most things that you fail, you can try again, okay? Sure, there are a few things in life where if you fail, you'll die, okay? And that's it, all right? It's sure. There are those things. But when it comes to things like music auditions, okay? So music auditions, driver's licenses, exams at school, stuff like that, okay? My mom was like, you should study, you should work hard, you should do the necessary prep work, but then once you go in and do it, and this is also kind of tying in with what my dad would always tell us as well, which is that you just take a deep breath, you did what you could already, okay? If you prepped enough, like that's all the prep you can do. All you can do is take a deep breath, go in, do the exam, and see what happens, Like, you only have two options. You either passed it or you didn't. There's no other option besides those two, okay? So because you know both options and you know that you're not gonna die from either of them, it's okay. So it's actually okay to fail, okay? Like, provided you did the necessary prep work, So that's how my parents always walked me and my brother through everything. It was do the prep work, do your homework, okay? Like, life is not going to be just handed to you on a plate, okay? So you have to do your own prep work, go in and do the exam, see what happens. If you pass, great. You don't have to worry about it again. If you don't pass, do it again. go back to the prep stage and do it again. You just do it again and again until it works, So I basically took that approach to getting into a performance degree at university. So for those of you who don't know, when I first auditioned into music school, I auditioned to get into the performance program, but I was not good enough. And so I was placed, rightfully so, into general studies instead of performance. So at the end of my first year, I decided to try and audition into performance again. And rightfully so, I was not good enough still. So I failed that one too. Okay. Then I tried a third time at the end of my second year. And then that time I got in. So I really only spent half of my degree doing a true performance degree. And so, like when I tell you guys that I was truly kind of like the mediocre flutist in school, like, you know how you, like in music school, you have those like really top flutists, those flute students who come in and you're just like, oh my gosh, why am I even like, I am not worthy to be even in your presence. Those types of people. So there's those types of people. And then like, I'm here. Okay. Like I was like in the bottom to like at one point I was at the very bottom because like I failed that placement audition on the flute, remember? And so I was given all the piccolo parts because I failed the flute, audition so badly. So I wasn't even given any flute parts for the entire year for my second year. And so like, yeah, so I'm like bottom tier. I'm like bottom tier flutist, who still was technically a music student. So like, I'm really not joking, guys, when I say that I was like bottom tier, like mid to bottom tier, I would say, when I was in school. Yeah, it's okay though. I learned from my mistakes, and that's all that really matters, that's what my parents really kind of drove home for me. They're just like, it doesn't matter, like in the end, it doesn't matter. It's, if you work through it, if you push through and you learn from it, you can find what your passion is, put your passion to good use. So my passion is like teaching, which is, I think that's why I enjoy this type of thing, right? I get to talk to you guys directly. So, yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, it's okay. It's actually okay to be like mid to bottom tier flutist. It's okay. Like, I ended up, turning this into my career too. And I am making a comfortable living from it, and it's okay. Like it's totally fine as long as you keep working and don't stop, like even when you become a professional, don't stop learning, like it's, yeah. Not bottom tier, recreational grade. Natasha. Do we have dogs? No, we don't, but our neighbors have dogs and they're really cute. So we see our neighbor's dog all the time, and it's fantastic. We actually see them through our windows, and we're just like, ah. Yeah. We love dogs, but we have allergies to a lot of like pet dander, So yeah, it makes it a little bit complicated to have a pet. Yeah. A game table that makes sense, Jane. I'll go check my Facebook later. Thank you. Odd artist, do you find this relatable? Yeah. So it's definitely like, yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I just saw what Jamie wrote there. So, wow. You guys, okay. I will say, I will take the compliment. You guys saying that my channel is very credible looking. Because here's the thing. I've repeated this a few times already, but I feel that it, us talking about this merits this repetition again, which is that I I am really trying to make a flute channel where it's not about my opinion as much as it's about my experience and me learning about flutes and about flute playing, flute teaching, flute, whatever. So this channel is more about just sharing me and not me, I guess. Like I have a passion for teaching, but I save the teaching for my online lessons. And so you guys have probably noticed I've kind of stopped doing tutorials. I was thinking that in terms of what actually lines up with what I envision this channel to be, I don't see anything wrong with doing a highlight video of, like, let's say you guys asked a question during a live stream and then I explained it the way that I know how. Like doing a highlight video of that, I feel will come across a lot more genuinely, you know what I mean? And not so, I really don't want you guys to think that I know everything. I think that's the main issue here, is that I don't want to lull you guys into a false sense of like, oh, Joanna knows everything about the flute. No, Joanna does not know everything about the flute, okay? It just so happens that Joanna is sharing everything she does currently know about the flute. You know what I mean? So, like, that's what I want to, like, make sure you guys know, that, I'm just sharing what I know. I'm not trying to, like, teach the world about the flute, if that makes sense, So no, I don't know everything about the flute, but I am very, 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 very flattered that you guys think that my channel is like the channel, about the flute. So thank you. I do appreciate it. I accept it. But at the same time, I want you guys to know what I'm trying to actually do with this channel, So that's why I feel like these live streams, kind of fit a little bit better with my vision of this channel, because I actually get to talk to you guys directly. Will I play some Beef Tink in this stream? I don't know. I know that the second hour, because what I want to do is basically, first hour is me just coffee chatting with you guys, and then I take a little break to rinse out my mouth, potty break, blah blah blah, come back, and then I'm going to play some music for you guys. And I do have a sight reading list going, so we can check to see if Herman Beef Tink is on it. Give me a second here. Yes, he's on it for Wings, I believe. So he's at the very end though, so we may not get there today. Yeah. Oh, you, Darcy, you like the fact that I'm not intimidating. Thank you. That's a huge compliment. Okay. I have really severe imposter syndrome, okay? And for me, if I were to act intimidating, I personally feel that it would cause my imposter syndrome to get even worse, if that makes sense. Because when you are, when you try to make yourself look like you know everything, because I was like this for a while, so I do have some experience with this. When you try to make yourself look like you know everything about the flute, when you try to hide all of your insecurities, or like your questions, or if you hear about someone saying something that you've never heard about, and just trying to be defensive about that and stuff like that, when you do that, it does make you talk differently. And when you talk kind of in that more defensive way, it does come across a little bit more intimidating. And I find that when I do that, so this is just personal, okay? This is not about anyone else. This is just about me. When I do that, it makes my imposter syndrome worse. So I essentially am making my own mental health worse by doing that. So that's why I am always now trying to be the first one to call myself out. That's why I stream on Twitch my practice sessions, so you guys can actively see me struggling, and actively see me learning. And like, I feel that the more I share about my struggles on the flute, the more I open up, the more I just show you guys what I'm doing, like, the better I feel, because it's like, oh, all those insecurities that I am insecure about, I no longer have to hide them because I'm just putting them out on display. So, and I can see now that when I put my insecurities right out on display, nothing happens to me. And in fact, not only does nothing negative happen to me, you guys are always telling me that it makes you feel better. So, like, we're all just kind of like mirroring these positive vibes at each other. And that is, I feel, a direct result of me just laying all my insecurities out for you guys to see instead of hiding them. But I would say that the temptation to hide the insecurities is still very strong. I don't feel that temptation really gets any weaker as time goes by. So I constantly have to remind myself to just be okay with showing my flute insecurities. And showing up on Twitch 1 hour every weekday really helps with that. So I have felt that I have healed a lot over the last year, now that I've been on Twitch for a while now. And and I do feel that healing process has changed how I think of making content on my YouTube channel too. Hence these now weekly live streams with you guys. Yeah. Professional people have insecurities too. It's called being human. Yeah. What you put out to the world comes back to you tenfold. Yes. I believe there's a saying in the Bible that says something about that. And not just reap what you sow, but it's I forget exactly something about turn down and pressed, and something, it comes back to you, blah blah blah. Yeah, but yeah. Oh, Jamie. Let's see. Natasha, you never rinse your mouth. No. So you really should. Mostly the concern with playing into the flute while eating or right after eating or drinking is mostly actually the sugar content. That's actually more the biggest concern. So if you eat something sugary or drink something sugary and then you blow that into the flute, that creates even worse of a breeding ground for bacteria, blah, blah, blah. So that's why you really should rinse your mouth out really well before playing. So my coffee doesn't have sugar in it. I'm not a huge fan of sugar in my coffee. So, so yeah, that's why, like, that's the biggest concern there is the whole breeding ground for bacteria and mold. Mold is kind of the concern there. So it's not so much just like, it's not just for the health of the flute, but it's the health of you too. Because if your flute starts developing mold and you are like breathing it in, you know what I mean? Like constantly, it's not a good time. It's not a good time. What about tea and playing the flute? So in my opinion, if like the best would be, the absolute best is if you go brush your teeth, rinse your mouth out really, really well. Okay, before you start playing, play for like half an hour, put the flute down, have a tea break, whatever. It's great. But then rinse your mouth out again and then play again. So like, in my opinion, it's the best if you, like, this is why I do it this way, right, guys? Is I'm not sipping coffee, playing a bit of flute, sipping coffee, right? You guys notice that I'm doing like a whole hour to sip coffee with you guys and then take a break, rinse my mouth out, grab some water, and then play, after I've like washed out my mouth, basically. I do it that way because it's better for the flute and me, So, but I mean, like, if your drink doesn't have sugar in it, it's like not as bad. Does that make sense? It's not as bad as if you were to drink something really sugary while playing. It's not good for the flute, and by proxy, it's not good for you. That's kind of the concern there. Mold on the flute is generally discouraged for obvious reasons. And then if you're breathing that in, it's not a good time. Natasha, you used to wash your flute when you're in high school. No! Okay, so do you guys know the story? Do you guys know the story about my first flute student? My very first official flute student when I was a young, naive 17-year-old girl. So I got my first flute student when I was 17, all right? And I obviously was very inexperienced, and this was kind of my first go at teaching. So, like, I didn't realize that you should sit down not only the child, but also the mother or the parent, guardian, whoever it is that is taking care of the child, and walk them through how to care for a flute, all right? So I had completely taken for granted that people would know not to wash your flute. But like, if you think of it from a non-flutist perspective, that actually makes a lot of sense to like, you blow into this instrument a lot. Wouldn't it get disgusting? So why don't you wash it, right? Detox spray on a cloth to disinfect the flute. That seems pretty typical. I've seen that a lot. Yeah, that's very typical. I don't do it because I don't own that detox spray or I don't have alcohol wipes and stuff like that. So for me, it's mostly keep it dry, keep it clean, right? That's mostly all you really have to do if you are not sharing your flute, So anyway, so for this student, I one day she comes in and she goes, "Hey, so my baby sister grabbed my flute and threw it in the sandbox." And then I was already like, oh my gosh, what? Like, to me, I was wondering if I was dreaming, like nightmare type of material. And then she goes on to say, yeah, but it's okay because my mom took the flute out of the sandbox and washed it in the kitchen sink. And I was just like, oh no. So I took a look at the flute, and sure enough, it's basically ruined. Every pad had been soaked. I could just only imagine how wet the head joint cork was. So the head joint cork is toast, So I was like, okay, we managed to find a place that would do basically a full repad and recork and everything for like a ridiculously low amount of money. I don't really know how they found that deal, but her flute worked after that, and that's all that really matters, okay? So after that, I learned that for beginners, you really have to sit them down, and if they're a minor, to sit them down with their guardian, their parent/guardian, to walk them through how to care for a flute. And what about caring for a flute do you actually have to leave up to the flute repair professionals? Okay, so generally speaking, all you have to do is wipe the inside of the flute dry after every time you play, and don't blow into the instrument right after eating or drinking, especially sugary things. So as long as you adhere by those things, if you see the tarnish showing up, don't try and get it off yourself. I tried myself, and I have a whole bunch of little scratches now on my foot joint. And it's still there from when I did it when I was like 12. And then, so it's like there are definitely cleaning things to leave to the flute repair professionals and not attempt yourself. And so, yeah, I learned, guys. I ate that responsibility. All right. Like I ate it, it's okay. It happened. I didn't walk my student through it. Didn't walk my student's mom through it. And then that's what happened, So, ever since then, anytime I taught a beginner, I always did that. And I always told them, I know that it seems like this might be a waste of your lesson time because you're not learning about how to play the flute per se, but you really, you can very easily ruin your flute without knowing it if I don't teach you this. So, yeah. Hey, David. You're not interrupting. You're just entering in the middle of a horror story. Yeah. Yeah, never have sugar in your mouth and then play clarinet. The reed would probably rot. Yes, I've heard of that. It does not sound like a good time. Does the COA include a full take apart and clean? Yeah, that's how they do it, actually. Because clean, oil, and adjust. That's how they do it. They take it apart, clean it, put it all back together. Yeah. So, an overhaul is when they essentially refurbish your flute to new status. Clean, oil, and adjust, they only replace the parts that are like actually ripped or broken, Yeah. You always learn more from a horror story because it is so traumatic. Amen, man. Amen. So there's a lot of there's a reason why I do trial lessons, okay? So the trial lesson gives me time to set the expectations correctly for my students and to set their expectations correctly of what I expect from them and what they expect from me. So I use that hour to not only get to know them, but also be like, this is what you can expect from lessons. This is what you can expect from me. This is what I expect from you, okay? Included in that is also, this is what not to expect from me, and this is what I don't expect from you, okay? So, and all of that kind of time that I spend talking about those expectations are because of experiences that I would rather not repeat. Yeah. Oh, see you, Will. Get your mask on. Stay safe, all right? Magic Monkey, you're so happy you didn't see your flute in the overhaul. You would have been devastated to see it all in pieces. Yeah. A lot of flute repair people actually advise flutists to not drop in to see how their flute is doing while it is being worked on, because I have heard of some people just straight up fainting upon seeing how taken apart their flute is. So it's one of those things that if you are that attached to your instrument, you probably should just not check in for the entire time it's being worked on, yeah. So, yeah. It's I've heard of some people fainting. I've heard of some people just breaking down into tears, and nothing's actually happening to the flute. It's just apart because it's being cleaned, So, yeah, I've talked to some flute repair professionals before, and they were just like, yeah, we tend to just tell you to sit at home and wait. Don't look at the flute again until it's actually put back together. Yeah. So it's really funny because here, if you think about it, your flute is in the hands of a professional, okay? That professional probably actually knows your flute way better than you do, to be really honest, okay? they can tell what you've done to the flute, even if you didn't know that you did it to the flute, okay? Just by looking at the way certain dents are formed and which parts are dirtier than others and blah, 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 all that stuff. They can literally just like look at your flute and sort of like forensically decipher what you've done to it, you know? So unfortunately, Natasha, if a flute repair professional were to look at your instrument, she could probably tell that you might have been sipping coffee while, you know, like just kind of in between while you play, you know? They can tell. They can absolutely tell in the state of the head joint cork, the state of the pads, the state of everything. They can, like, they've seen so much that they can tell what you've been doing. Like, you can't hide from a flute repair professional. You can't hide. You can't hide anything, okay? So I always tell my students that when you go to a flute repair person, don't try and make up stories. Don't try and hide the truth. Even if you are embarrassed that you did something really careless with your flute, it's much better to just tell the truth, okay? Because one way or another, the truth is going to come out, you know? So, yeah, no. Oh, yes. Buying a cheap flute and practicing on it apparently is very, very fun. I have not had the time to do that because, you know, my job being my job, I don't really have the time to do that. But I've heard from several people it's very fun to buy a like really cheap old flute off of eBay and then just kind of like take it apart and have some fun, you know? Especially since you're not like attached to the instrument, you know, it's easier to kind of take it apart and stuff. But yeah, the concept of your baby being taken apart by a technician, I do agree, can be very scary. I think, though, maybe I've just been living this life for long enough that I've just sort of accepted that that's what happens to your instrument whenever you, you know, send it in for a COA. I just fully expect that it is going to be completely taken apart. Unrecognizable, basically, until they put it back together again. Yeah. You were using your flute as a baseball bat when you were a kid. Oh, no. Oh. It was repaired and worked fine. My goodness. Yo, whoever worked on your flute probably remembers it. Repair people love, like, kind of have I find that repair people kind of like the weird things that happen, you know, I've had I believe it was Lori Lee who told me that she worked on a flute that had a butt print on it. Someone sat on their flute. Yeah. So if you guys don't know who Lori Lee is, Lori actually popped into the chat, I think like last week. Yeah, last week. She popped into the chat last week. And she actually worked on my flute when I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area. So Lori Lee, like one of the top flute repair people that I know, yeah. And she happens to be in the San Francisco Bay Area, and she works on all the professional flutes out there. And yeah, she popped into the chat. So I believe she was the one who told me about working on a flute with a butt print on it, and repair people are magicians, let me tell you. They are wizards. Wizards, I tell you. I don't understand how they make things look better again. And like with the advent of social media, a lot of these repair people are now able to share before and after photos. And they are stunning. You guys should follow some repair people's Facebook pages out there and Instagram pages, because they post these horrific looking before pictures, but then their after pictures look like it's completely new. Like, I don't understand how they do it. Yes, absolutely a miracle. My goodness. Lovely. pawning her customers' flutes when they sent them in for repair? What? Yo, I mean, it sounds like she got caught. I mean, and I'm glad for that. That sounds awful. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. So Katie Flute has done it, taken apart a flute. That sounds fun, man. That sounds fun. Yeah, the before and after videos and the before and after photos are stunning. Absolutely stunning. My goodness. I think I have a little bit of like a grotesque fascination with horrific things that have happened to the flutes. I don't know what it is. I also I'm sure that you guys have noticed that I've been sort of working through what is truly my relationship with the flute, you know? And I don't share that. I used to be horrified at the idea of taking apart a flute, and especially a flute that you know and that you play. I used to be horrified by it, but then something happened over the last maybe 10 years or so where that terror has morphed into fascination. So, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't know what it's from. I do think it has something to do with the fact that the flute morphed from becoming my hobby, my love, to my work. And once it's become my work, I feel like I'm able to kind of distance myself emotionally from it way more. Although, like I have been saying in the past couple of weeks, the way I see my flute is like an extension of my body. And you know what? It would really suck if you lost your hand. I was just saying earlier today, it would really suck if you lost your hand. Or if you lost a finger. You know what I mean? You're not, I would say, emotionally attached to your fingers. But if you lost your finger, oh, you'd be in for a doozy, you know? Like, your whole world would change, how you do things would change, mentally, emotionally, you'd be pretty messed up for a little bit, you know what I mean? Like that's how I feel. But like, in terms of like, if I would just look at my hand, I'm like, am I passionate about my hand? Like, no, I'm not, you know? And that's how I feel about the flute. And so I think somewhere along the way, like, I'm still trying to figure out when it happened. It's just that one day I discovered that I could no longer identify with people who said that, they were horrified that, their flutes were taken apart in repair, or, people get, like very, very passionate about, trying different flutes and blah, blah, blah. But like, yeah, for me, like, I don't share that passion anymore. For me, it's more of like a distant memory. And I've been wrestling with that for a really, really long time, trying to understand, why do I feel this way? Why am I so emotionally distant from the flute? You know what I mean? I've been trying to, work through it, and and you guys have helped me do that, because you guys have given me the space to talk it out, basically. So, yeah. Forlun Gaming. Sure. What do you want me to sight read? I'll put it on the top of the list since it's your birthday. Yeah? At me again so I can see what you want me to play. Oh my gosh, you had a viola that was rented and it was backed over by a car. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, goodness gracious. Phil! Oh my gosh! Hey! Everyone, please say hello to Phil Unger. He is the owner of Flute Center of New York. How are you doing? You guys doing okay over there? Did accident? I mean, did you find this stream by accident, or do you mean finding me by accident? Because I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but I have mentioned this before in a previous stream, that it was your sister, right? Your sister found my video and then shared it with you, and then you shared it with the Flute Center of New York. And then, of course, Gmail had to put your email from Emily, I believe it was, into my spam folder. Good, Phil. I'm glad you're doing great. Yes, people, this is the Phil Unger. This is fantastic. Last week, Lori Lee popped into the chat. Now Phil is popping into the chat. This is great. Oh, this is fantastic. You guys are speaking to the owner of the Flute Center of New York. Ah, you found the stream accidentally. Fantastic. I'm glad you did. So this is me hanging out with people, you know, in this stir crazy time for everyone. Having my coffee. Yes. Is Amelia your sister? Please say hello to her for me and thank her for me. I actually just received head joints from you guys today, but I haven't had time to prep it properly. So so you guys, next week's live stream, which will be happening at the same time, Thursday at 1:30 Pacific time, I will be reviewing some head joints from the Flute Center of New York. Yes. So it just arrived, literally, like, I would say maybe like 13 minutes before this stream started. So obviously did not have time to prep. But having 1 week to prep, though, will be really great, because I can, you know, look at the specs, maybe type out the specs, be able to kind of put it on the side here for you guys so you guys can see what I'm doing. It'll be a great time. Amir, you are asking me how to handle fame. Okay. All right. I'll answer this question, and also I'm still waiting for Forlun Gaming to tell me what they want me to sight read. I hope you heard me, Forlun Gaming. Let's see. How to handle fame, though. Okay, I'll answer this question, and then I need to go chug the rest of my coffee, rinse out my mouth properly, okay, grab some water, and I'll be back to do some sight reading. But this is an interesting question, because I wouldn't say I'm famous. Why? It's because I can still lead a very normal life, okay? Like, when I go to, let's see. Oh, you can't, had to take a picture. Okay. So I can still go do all my normal life things completely with no one knowing who I am, okay? And it's great. It means that I can lead a completely normal life. I can go to the grocery store, no problem. No one recognizes me. No one cares who I am. And so would I say that I'm famous? I don't feel famous because I lead a very normal life, okay? After I'm off stream from, you know, off this stream, you know, you guys know what I'm gonna be doing? I'm gonna be cooking, okay? I'm gonna be cooking for like an hour, and then I'm gonna teach 2 lessons, and then I'm gonna have dinner. So yeah, you know, my husband and I are just kind of tag teaming it. I'm cooking for an hour, and then he's going to take over and do the veggies, you know? So, and then when we kind of gather together after I'm done teaching today, then we can have dinner. After dinner, we're gonna play some Final Fantasy VII probably, and then some Animal Crossing, and then we're gonna go to bed, you know? So it's a very normal life. I don't do famous people things, you know? So how do I handle fame? I don't is the answer there. Now, am I well known in the flute community? I think I am. That is what I hear. But everything that I hear is all hearsay, okay? So do I actually know the state of my fame in the flute world? No, I don't know. So, some people will contact me on my business email or lessons email, and they will talk to me like as if I'm a famous person, which I guess is somewhat flattering, but at the same time, I just want them to know that, hey, it's just you're asking for a service from me, and I am going to give you the details on what that service entails. Okay. And to me, it's not a huge deal. But I think the part about fame and being contacted because people think I'm famous, it's the kind of like somewhat entitled, demanding questions, if that makes sense. I don't like that, actually. When people contact me asking me a question, but they're kind of almost too direct and too entitled in how they ask the question, if that makes sense. I get very demanding very demanding emails from people, and it's kind of grating, to be honest. So how do I respond? I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't. That's the truth. I will respond to people who are, polite, I would say. And it's not that I only respond to people who make me feel flattered. I'm responding to people who are treating me like a human and not like a dance monkey dance kind of thing. Like, that's actually what I'm talking about, is sort of the attitude of people just going, dance monkey dance, dance monkey dance, like, here's my question, give me an answer right now, so that kind of thing I can't stand, and it makes me feel kind of objectified, and yeah, it feels bad. I don't like it. So, Daniel, how are you? Oh, I miss you. I'm glad that you found my live stream. Phil, thank you so much. Here's what I think, Phil. You guys were way more famous than me, okay, before I came along. When I saw your email sitting in my spam, I legit thought it was fake, because I was like, why would the Flute Center of New York pay attention to me? You know what I mean? Like, why would you pay attention to me? So in my perspective, like from my angle of how things happened, you guys were the famous ones who found me and basically legitimized my work. That's how I feel about you guys, that you legitimized what I do, and it's great. Yeah. Am I playing the FF7 remake, Chris is asking. Yes, I am. Oh my gosh. Am I bad at action games? Yes, I am. But I'm learning. So the way that I'm learning to play FF7 is to almost like treat it as if I'm learning fingerings on the flute. So I have to be like, I have to do this sequence, like it's, oh my gosh, it's so stupid. But it's a great game, guys. It's a great game. FF7 quality. Storytelling is great. English voice acting, very good. Typically I like to put this stuff in Japanese, actually, because I feel like it sounds better in Japanese. But the English voice acting, fantastic. So we're just leaving it in English. Oh, not yet. I haven't seen that FF7 piece yet. But it's the graphics are beautiful. The dialogue is so snarky and fantastic. Cloud has some great one-liners. Holy crap. There's so many times that he said something and John and I were just like, whoa, Cloud, you edgy little person. But yeah, so Anyway, I thought I would, explain to you guys how I feel about the whole dance monkey dance vibe that I sometimes get. Now, do I get it from you guys directly in this stream? Sometimes yes, but for most of you, not. I would say that there's like a small percentage of people who I think still don't realize that I'm a real live person. But I would say like 80% of you know. But yeah, it's definitely like, I don't know. It's a weird thing, this whole fame thing, when people think you're famous, they will, like, regardless of whether or not you actually are famous, they will treat you differently. And it very much is a dance monkey dance sort of vibe, and it is really, really, it puts me off, I believe is the term I'm looking for. Somehow a lot of musicians, are getting into gaming also and computer stuff. Well, I mean, I've kind of been into gaming since I was a kid. We just fell off the bandwagon because my family's financial situation got really tight in sort of the second half of my growing up. So I fell off the bandwagon for a long time. But I was still watching, things like Twilight Princess cutscenes on YouTube. That's how I kept up with the like Legend of Zelda storytelling. Even though I couldn't, afford a console and the game myself, I still kept up with the story by watching all the cutscenes. I just accepted the fact that I was just gonna spoil the whole thing for myself because I never thought I would have the money to play it, So yeah, behind the scenes, guys, I've been a gamer this whole time. So I have two friends in here who are lurking, who are gaming buddies as well. So we played League together, stuff like that, So I don't know if you guys recognize some of the things behind me. That's a Magitech armor from Final Fantasy. That is Kog'Maw from League of Legends. These are Poros from League of Legends. That is Misfortune from League of Legends, right there. Yeah. And then I have these are Bulbasaur, Charmander, there we go, and Squirtle. There's a little Deathly Hallows thing right there. I got a little bell bag, Animal Crossing, and a bunch of Hello Kitties. You see that? Little tiny Hello Kitties. Yeah. Also, that little box right there, right here. Oh, right here. This little box is a Hello Kitty metronome from Japan that I bought from Japan. Yeah, that's the Misfortune Pop. We got her for free. They were running some sort of special. And I forget exactly what it was, but for some reason we were able to go to GameStop and get little pop figures for free. So I chose Misfortune. Yeah. Am I ready for Zelda Breath of the Wild 2? I am not, because I have not finished the first one. But I did watch the trailer for it, and it looks stunning. I really hope that Zelda is a playable character, like playable, player 2. Love her redesign with the shorter hair and the like adventure gear and everything that she's in. Oh my gosh, fantastic. Yeah, so I'm subscribed to the Breath of the Wild subreddit, and absolutely fantastic. Animal Crossing is me. So Forland Gaming, I will make an exception for you because it is your birthday. So why don't you send it over to my justanotherflutist@gmail.com business address. Send it over. I'll be waiting for it. Which reminds me, guys, now is probably a great time to take a little break. I think I won't chug this. I'm just going to leave this off to the side. And what we're going to do is I'm going to rinse out my mouth like crazy. And then I'm going to chug a cup of water, go for a little potty break. I will come back and we will do a little bit of sight reading. So we'll start with Forland Gaming's little birthday sight reading. And then we will continue down the list. All right? So I will see you guys in a little bit. as soon as I can find my my mouse cursor. There we go. Okay, excellent. So see you guys in a little bit. Hang tight. Keep chatting. am back, guys. Hello. Okay, so just got word that I should have, yes, got the sight reading request. Lovely. So, you are working on this piece for Len Gaming. Okay, sounds great. So, guys, I have to look over here, okay? So I do apologize that you're going to be seeing kind of basically like a side profile of me playing. I know that some people were kind of complaining of that before, but it's just because I currently don't have like a big monitor sitting here, okay? Maybe one day that might happen, but that day is not today, okay? So while I'm sight reading, I am going to be looking over to this side. So again, apologies for that if that doesn't look the best, but it do be what it do be. Okay, so let's try this. I have no idea how this is supposed to go. So I'm going to guess, okay, how fast this is supposed to go. Here we go. Let's see. I might have added an extra sharp in there, and I do apologize for that. So let me start from the beginning again. Okay. There's a typo right there, just so you know, for Len Gaming. Fourth line down, last bar, there is not supposed to be a dot after that half note. If you did, then that bar would have 5 beats, and there's only supposed to be 4. So that's a typo, okay? You're gonna start right there, pick up into that bar. So, you're welcome, Forlin, and happy birthday. I hope you're having a lovely time, albeit at home, I guess. I hope you're like doing something fun, you know, baking a cake for yourself or something like that. All right, do something fun. Great. So, thank you for that. Okay, we're now going to continue down our list here. By the way, if you guys want to say anything to me directly, please at me. It's so much easier to see. And if you really want to get my attention, you can super chat, but at the same time, it makes me feel really weird to ask you guys for money. So mostly, if you guys want me to like really read something, please at me. Okay, so lovely. Now we're gonna go down our list here. Hungarian Serenade. Okay, so this one, I think I butchered it at the end of our last little sight reading session. So let me try and redeem myself. Okay, so let me try and Okay, so let's give this a whirl. Hungarian Serenade. Let's see if I remember. Oh, da 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 da. Okay. I need to phrase it a little bit better. So what's interesting here, there's a few interruptions happening. Handel Sonata 2. I don't know, but I think I know which one you are wanting me to play, because I can just find that. If it's a Handel Sonata, I can just find it online. In fact, I actually have just like this straight up sheet music back here. So give me a second. Okay, did you guys hear that? Better phrasing. So essentially what's happening is there's a little bit of an interruption happening right here. I hear that as an interruption, and then what happens after that is a little bit of an afterthought. So, right, do you hear that? You hear how that sounds like an afterthought? So if you phrase it that way, it sounds a lot better. Okay, let's keep going. Da, 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 da. Okay. Lots of little interruptions happening here, and I'm trying to decipher what's happening. So very interesting kind of lots of interruptions happening. I'm going to back it up a bit. Oh my gosh. Very interesting phrasing. Hey, Jay Cortez, how are you doing? How is life? Yeah, the accidentals do kind of get you, because the phrasing here is not what you would expect it to be. So very interesting, very interesting. Love it. We're gonna continue to the più lento part. Ooh, they do two different versions, I guess. Sorry, still messed that up. Thank you for the $10. My goodness, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I have played Octopath Traveler. Forlin Gaming, you would be very happy to know. We used a lot of Octopath Traveler for our wedding. So the credits song, we used that as our recessional after the ceremony. Okay, anyway, I should finish this. Oh, I see, okay. I can see that some of you guys are working on this. So let me talk you through how I'm phrasing this. So I'm thinking of this as like little dancey dancey over here, a little dancey dancey over here. Okay, and then when it goes to that is like another dancey over here, but then it gets interrupted. Okay, so it gets interrupted by another dance right there. That is supposed to be a resolution, but then everything that comes after this point is an elongation of this resolution. Okay, so do you notice that it just goes right back to the G? Right? So, you hear that? It's just elongating the ending there. Right? Right? You hear that? Like it's just elongate the ending for as long as possible. Okay? That's basically what's going on there. Okay? So if we put it on all together again. Um, right? You hear that? Hey, Jaden. So, which version did I do? Or Melanie? So, oh, you guys are deciding which version you're doing, right? Because there's two versions that you can do, kind of in the middle there. Let's see. So that's the lower version I did, because I like low notes, but apparently you can do. They're both nice in their own way. I just prefer the one that goes way lower. Yeah. So, let's see. Public domain arrangement of Fanny Mendelssohn's Easter Sonata. Ooh. Definitely see if you can arrange it for pedal harp. That would be amazing. Excellent. Okay, so there you go. So for now, Melanie, when you're first learning this, ignore the grace notes for now. You want to learn it with just the main notes, and then after you're very familiar with the main notes, what you do is you do a little flubbity flub, just kind of floof it up a little bit. So that's kind of how you approach grace notes in this thing. But anyway, since I noticed that some of you guys were working on this, I thought I would share how I'm phrasing it. So, cute piece. Very cute piece. Okay, we got to do the Minuet. Someone asked me for this one. This is an excerpt from, is it a ballet? I think it's a ballet. But let's go to orchestraexcerpts.com/flute. So if you guys don't know this site, it's a fantastic site. You can find a whole bunch of things. So I believe they have this. So they have the Minuet. I learned this when I was a kid, man, and I had no idea what it was from. But if you guys go to orchestraexcerpts.com/flute, you can find this excerpt listed, L'Arlésienne Minuet by Bizet. So look under Bizet, B-I-Z or Z if you're in the States, E-T, okay? So let's give this a go. Haven't done this in a really long time. maybe don't take that breath at the end there. I was just kind of like feeling that pressure, man. But yeah, isn't this cute? Oh my gosh, this is so cute. It's a great piece to kind of introduce kind of flute excerpts. I had no idea this was a flute excerpt when I studied it when I was a kid. Not that I would have cared. You know, something for you guys to think about is that when you learn things as a young kid, okay, I'm talking like 9 years old, okay, 9-10 years old. When you learn things as a young kid, there's a lot of things about sort of the context of the piece, the history of the piece, you know, all that good stuff, you know, that you just don't care about when you're 9 or 10 years old, okay? You just care that it's pretty, okay? So, you know, this was one of those things that I kind of discovered when I was older was actually a flute excerpt, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense as to why it was introduced to me when I was so young. What piece are we talking about? Hey, Camille, how are you doing? This is the l'Arlésienne, you know that one. Salmon. I haven't had salmon in a long time, man. We should probably get some. I do enjoy good salmon. Nice seared salmon, you know? Very messy in terms of cleanup, but fantastic. You take a stainless steel pan, put some oil on it, put it on basically like medium high until the oil is shimmering. Put the salmon on it and then immediately turn it down to medium low and then cook it almost all the way through, and then it will release off of the pan. Then you flip it and then you just like kind of like cook a little bit of the other side just to make sure that that is like, you know, it's not raw all the way through, you know, but it should still be quite tender on the inside. But I think the whole process takes like, I think the first side takes anywhere from like around 6 or 7 minutes or something like that. So you have to be really patient. But then you flip it over for like a minute, 2 minutes, then let it rest. You know, take it off, let it rest. Oh, beautiful. It's so good. So good. I learned that tip from a random recipe I found online to kind of start at like medium high, and then right after you put the fish in, turn it down to medium low. Oh, so good. You get that nice crust along with the inside still being tender, but still cooked. Oh, so good. D, you spent today teaching piano online. You needed this to chill out. I'm glad that I could provide that for you. That is kind of the point of these live streams. It's just a chill out place for you guys. The flute and oboe are in unison in this, yes. It's magical when the flute and oboe is in unison and you're in tune. It is actually magical. Well, yeah. So I do agree when the oboe joins in. So good. So very good. Okay, so we've done that now. Let's look at what else is on our list here. Someone wanted Beethoven Leonora. So let's do it. I believe we can look at the exact same site. So if we look up to Beethoven Leonora, oh, of course you guys want me to do this. So to give you guys a little bit of background as to why this was asked of me, this is a very typical excerpt to be heard in an audition situation. So let's say you are doing a professional audition, a professional orchestra audition, or you are auditioning for a music school. Lots of music schools will ask for these specific excerpts, and you can find them for free, orchestraexcerpts.com/flute, right? The wonderful thing about this website, I am not sponsored by them, by the way, but the wonderful thing about this website is that they have the parts right there on the page. They even have it bracketed off to show you where the typical excerpt is. And then they have like multiple recordings right underneath each excerpt so that you don't have to scrub through like a whole recording. They just kind of give you the little excerpt, and they give you multiple recordings so you can hear different ways that it's been performed. It's absolutely fantastic. As a teacher, this tool has been fantastic, especially for my more hearing dominant students. So my hearing dominant students really have to hear it in context with an orchestra in order for the excerpt to make any sense to them. So having the multiple recordings is absolutely fantastic, because I can just be like, just press play. You don't have to scrub and find the excerpt in this like long 15-20 minute recording. So it's great. Okay guys, so go to orchestraexcerpts.com/flute, and you notice I said /flute. It means that if you play other instruments, because I know that not all of you play the flute, they have orchestra excerpts for other instruments as well. So you guys can just go straight to orchestraexcerpts.com and click around, find your instrument, find like kind of some of the biggest orchestra excerpts that are for you. So, Jacob, what is my advice for somebody going to music school next year in terms of confidence in auditions for ensembles? So if you're asking just in terms of confidence, what you need to do, because especially right now, we're in the age of video, okay? Video, audio, recordings. A lot of auditions have preliminary auditions that are done via video and via audio recordings. So what I would suggest is that if you are looking into applying next year, starting now, get used to video recording yourself. Get used to audio recording yourself. Because if you can kind of get over that initial nervousness when you actually make the recording to send in for those prelims, they'll go much smoother. There's a lot of technical things that can happen that you will not experience until you start recording yourself a lot. So that's what I would suggest, is get used to recording. And as you get used to recording, it will help build your confidence, because you're basically constantly practicing performing for, a camera, which is a very unforgiving audience. So that's what I would suggest. Yeah. Hey Jenny, how are you doing? Hello. Okay, so you're gonna get yourself all the excerpts now. So yeah, just go to orchestraexcerpts.com. They're free. It's great, public domain. So anyway, that's enough talk for now. Let's do the Leonora. Of course you guys would ask me for the Leonora. You guys are ruthless. All right, whatever, it's okay. I love you anyway. Nope, has to go even slower. Double slower. See, I can't do that part in an audition. And then that's approximately where the excerpt ends. So, okay, I did the first one. Was I able to play it like that from when I was in music school? Absolutely not. No. Okay. When I was in music school, I played this much more poorly. So I wanted to give you guys a few tips for this. When you're playing those high notes, okay, those really high, soft notes, keep in mind you want to push your air from further back in your mouth, okay? So what you'll feel is you're pushing the air from further back, but then it has to kind of like reach a certain kind of landing point in the front of your mouth too, okay? When you push from further back, you're pushing with like warmer air, and it allows you to actually play with slightly more static air, okay? You'll know what I mean when you try it, okay? You go, and it's kind of static. It's still moving, but it's pretty static. And when you're pushing, you're not pushing from your mouth, you're pushing from your core, okay? So warm air, you almost want to think warm puffs of air for the top like F sharps, okay? So the reason why I'm able to get those high F sharps to come out so like easily is because I'm actually kind of like puffing warm air, not cold air. So don't go, you don't want to do like cool air like that. You want to go, okay? And you want to like push from your core when you do that, okay? So this whole excerpt is basically done from your core and from warm air, okay? That's your tip for that one. And it will allow you to play very softly because you could play with more static air, okay? All right, now let's do the other one that you guys want to hear, because this is, so there's always two excerpts that are asked for from the Leonora. One is that slower one, then the second one is this faster one. This one is always asked for. So I'm having slight PTSD from when I used to play this really poorly, okay? All right, here we go. I need to do that one more time, guys. One more time. But you guys hear all those high notes? All warm air, okay? Warm air. So I was trying something there. So start with cool air, low note, and then as you go higher, two things have to happen. You have to morph into warmer air as you go higher. You also have to move your tongue from forward to back, okay? Oh my gosh, my fingers don't want to move. So again, that last note, you got to make sure is like in tune with the rest of what you're playing, okay? Which means that you will need to do a little bit of like adjustment with your mouth. You can also adjust with some keys too if you want, but I would say that depending on the orchestra you're playing with, it probably is a little easier to control the tuning just with your mouth, I would say. So the other thing is, if since you're holding it for that long and at pianissimo, again, warm air, let the air be a little bit static but supported from your abs. Grind down and out, okay? You'll find that that grinds against your diaphragm, which will kind of like help support your airstream. So, woo, okay. So for this flute, that little whatchamacallit, grace note is very out of tune. So I think for this flute, what I need to do is right when I get to that, I need to like aim really low. Otherwise I go way too sharp. So yeah, much more in tune. Yeah, okay. Do you guys notice the second time I do it softer? Okay, very typical. All right, it's not written in the music, but that's kind of typically how you hear it. All right, so the first time you do the triplets, nice and loud. The second, the third and the fourth bars, because it's a repeat of the first one, you do it a little bit softer, and then that way when you get into the that part can be louder. And then subito pianissimo, the kind of dynamic contrast there will make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, so there you have it. Yes, BB, this is the same flute that I was using in our lesson. It's the old one. So, yeah. Interpretation tempo is actually about 100 to 110. In wings, is it? Oh, okay, that's good. That's good to know. Thank you. By Herman Beeftank, right? Or you're talking about that one? Yeah. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I don't feel like doing this one again, so we're not going to. But there you go. I can feel myself getting a little bit too jittery from coffee, so not really good for playing this type of stuff. You have to be very calm when playing this, so for it to kind of like, for your fingers to kind of cooperate and stuff. But I hope all those tips helped you guys. Okay, let's see what's next. Brandenburg 5. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find this. Brandenburg Concerto 5. I'm looking on IMSLP. Yep, absolutely. So D major, parts, flute solo. Okay, I'm just looking at this, and I believe specifically we wanted the third movement. Thanks, Jenny. Oh, you didn't even notice in the lesson. Yeah, I was playing this one. Okay. Let's see. So, flauto traverso. Okay, so we're gonna skip all the way to movement 3 because apparently that was the one that was asked for. Where is movement 3 though? Allegro. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna guess that's about the tempo. So. Okay. Ooh, okay. Something's throwing me off there. Cool. Let's scroll more. That seems to be a good spot to scroll. Okay. I like it, but I want to do that part again because I slightly butchered it. Okay, we're rewinding a little bit. Drouet number 1 in C major another time. I will definitely put that on the list. Thank you for your consideration. Okay, so this is Drouet number 1 in C major. Do you know the opus number for that? Because that will make it easier for me to find which one you're looking for. But anyway, let me do this again. No. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just gonna have to practice this part. Okay. Oh, how interesting. So there's like a little bit of like there's like 2 sets of interruptions right in there that you don't really expect. So part of sight reading is that you're actually kind of like somewhat predicting what's coming up next. It's like reading out loud in class. The people who read well out loud are actually kind of somewhat predicting what the next words might be as they go, which is exactly what I'm doing here while sight reading. So, and this little section right here completely like goes against what I'm predicting. Therefore, the mistakes. So we'll back it up. Whoa! That was a ride. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay. And then I'm guessing a lot goes on there. Yeah. There it is. There it is. There's that low note. Okay. context, I'm going to guess that I should actually be trilling to a G sharp because there's G sharps both before and after that trill. So yeah, I think so. C sharps. Whew. Okay, that was a ride. So let's see. C sharps. Woo! Woo! Okay. Method pour la flute. Oh, okay, it's on flute tunes. Good, good. Will do. Thank you. Wow. I loved that. That was great. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. I am going to end there, guys. So it's 3:44. I was supposed to end at 3:45. This is a good place to stop. So we are going to leave that. The next thing, which is someone wanted the Nutcracker next time. So we'll do that. Nutcracker, Peter and the Wolf, Curler. I don't know how much I'm going to do of Curler. Wings, and the Drouet. So that's kind of... Thank you, Jane. That is very sweet of you. I will say that each flutist has their specialty, and you guys just heard my specialty, which is Baroque music. So it's a little bit unfair. I would say I did a master's oral defense on this type of music, okay, specifically for the flutes. So I am like completely a geek about that type of music. So it's a little bit unfair to compare, you know what I mean, in that sense, because there are many other people who are much better at classical and romantic music than I am. Okay, so I just happen to be a geek when it comes to Baroque flute music. So yeah, well, I'm going to be around again tomorrow on Twitch, though, not on YouTube. The next time I'm on YouTube, I am planning to be at the same time, 1:30 Pacific time on Thursday next week, and it will not be this type of stream. It will be a Flute Center of New York review stream. Yeah, yes. So I'm very, very excited to be doing that in this new setup. You guys can actually see it in full HD while I'm doing it live. The idea is that I want you guys to actually hear me figuring out the flutes, all right? So because I often felt like that was the one thing that I kept trying to include in my like edited videos, but there was never enough room for them. So we've come up with a plan where I will just let myself do like a 2-hour stream figuring out the flutes. And then I will edit down a like small, like 5-minute highlight video of just the best parts of it. So for those of you who want to hear me actually like go through the process of figuring it out, tune into the live stream or watch the archived live stream later. But that was kind of the idea. I felt like that was going to be the best way of kind of getting everything that I wanted to get out of these, this content. So I love y'all very much. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. All right, keep washing those hands. Don't touch your face when you're in public. Preferably wear a mask. Practice social distancing, but at the same time, please reach out to each other. All right. If you're feeling lonely, please join us again for the live streams. I'm on Twitch, so come join me over on Twitch. I have my schedule posted on my website, justanotherflutist.com. Yeah. So. What else? Right, another shout out to the Flute Zone Discord. Again, that's a great place to reach out and have some friends, especially in this crazy, crazy time of literally everyone isolating themselves. So we need that as humans, okay? We need a community. That's kind of the point of these live streams that I've been doing, is to just kind of create a space for you guys to come to and chill out with some other people other than yourself. All right? So I love you all very much. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. I will see you guys tomorrow on Twitch. If not on Twitch, I will see you guys next week right here again on YouTube, 1:30 Thursday. All right? See you later. Bye.